Don't Die Minerva is the latest game in the roguelite trend that we've been seeing. And from the makers of the Calling and I believe other Battle Royale style games, this is certainly a departure from them. They were kind enough to give me a press key to check this one out, basically before it goes on early access. So what you see will probably not represent the current version of it. But what we have here is a pretty entertaining take on the genre that I think with some refinements and additions could be a solid entry. But the story is that we play as Minerva here, who is trapped in a haunted house. And the only way for her to get out is to do what we all know, and that is roguelite our way through. Combat is all real time as you're seeing on the screen, and your weapons are of the flashlight variety. Apparently there is such a thing as a bazooka flashlight in this world, machine gun and other variety, and you get essentially a sub-weapon in the form of toys that you carry on your backpack, which come to life to aid you, such as a gorilla or a monkey that can attack enemies in close range, dragon, and a few other kinds. Now, all the gear in the game is procedurally generated based on the few select types, and they come in various kind of elemental varieties. That's the values that you see in kind of the bottom right hand corner of the screen. When a particular piece of gear enhances one of your stats, it will kind of affect you passively, such as one will affect how strong your flashlight is, how much of a charge it gets, improved defenses, health, and so on and so forth. And as you find more gear, you'll also get them in different rarities, with the higher rarities coming with more passives, or maybe slightly changing how it works, such as letting it pierce through enemies, cause burning damage, and again, etc., etc. The world itself is procedurally generated, once again out of handmade rooms, and then put together in a random order. The enemies that you fight belong to essentially the biome itself. We did play as far into the second one, and you'll find new enemies, and there are sometimes some elite variants. Now, the game features a very passive, persistent element. You'll find crystals, which is kind of the currency you see in the far upper right. You'll see it in a second, as well as money. Money is not saved between runs, although you can get a passive that may start to bank it, while the crystals themselves are used to unlock persistent upgrades, such as allowing you to teleport using your map, giving you more health, and basically giving you more of an advantage and starting to kind of zero in or get ahead of the abstraction. And the game is definitely, as we said earlier, on the roguelite variety here, because there's only a few specific areas, at least from what we saw in this version of it, and the game definitely pushes the persistent elements to really give you more value or to stand a chance, especially against some of the later enemies. Now, as you're seeing on screen right now, these are just a few of the passives, and once you've upgraded it once, you'll basically unlock the next tier of that upgrade. And again, as with a lot of the roguelite games, the better you are, the less you're really going to need to make use of it. But it is there if you need it. Now, once you beat the quote-unquote boss of the biome, you won't need to fight that boss again, but it's unsure of at this time if you can just skip to the next or your current biome if you die and restart a run, or you have to do them all in order. Now, with that said, the game controls pretty fairly. It is on the twin-stick shooter variety, as you're seeing on the screen, and it definitely has kind of like almost like a Luigi's Mansion kind of feel to it. There's no, from what we see, like extreme violence, no blood, guts, just, lovely blue or painted ectoplasm. With that said, though, the version that I played again is the pre-early access build. So it means it's not really fair for me to go too heavy into talking about the design of it now, but I do have a few concerns and things I hope the developers will work on through early access. And we'll talk about that next, but first, a quick shout out to our current Game Wisdom supporters and sponsors. And now for a quick thank you to our current Game Wisdom Patreon supporters and sponsors. And if you'd like to continue this discussion on game design, be sure to check out our Discord channel, linked down below. If you're looking for more wisdom about game design, be sure to check out my latest offering of books, 20 Essential Games to Study, aimed for first-time developers and students looking for some inspiration for their upcoming games, and Game Design Deep Dive Platformers if you're interested in anything regarding 2D and 3D platforming design. They're both available in print, digital, and wherever books are being sold. With Don't Die Minerva in its current state, it has a very solid foundation to it, but it's not without some concerns right now. The general combat begins to get very repetitive. At this moment, or at the version that I played, there's only 4 specific weapon types. Your standard flashlight, this kind of bazooka flashlight, a machine gun one, and kind of a short-range taser flashlight. Again, I didn't make the rules, people. And because of that, there's not really a lot of variance in how you fight these enemies. Once you find a weapon type that you like, you can pretty much stick with it unless you find one that's of a much higher quality and rarity. And unlike ARPGs, there's not really a lot in terms of changing these weapons up with the higher rarities. Yes, one may get fire damage or piercing shot, which is cool and all, but it's not really changing how you operate them. And the same goes for your toy helpers as well. Now, the boss fight that you're seeing on screen right now, this guy is most certainly a flashlight sponge, as you're seeing. And the fight itself just got very repetitive, and I'm sure there's at least 2 or 3 more bosses, at least in the version that I played. So I don't know if they're all as repetitive as this one. And when we did get to the second biome, again, it's not really changing the game all that much. And I think this is why developers describe it as a roguelite. I'm hoping that as it goes to early access, we'll see more variety in terms of strategies, enemies, and also events that can occur in each biome. At the moment, the only things that are that you're going to see on each biome is going to be some kind of treasure room, having to find the key to the elevator, and the persistent room where I spend my crystals. And it does, like I said, get very repetitive in terms of this format. With that said, though, half the battle of these games is just getting a solid foundation of the core gameplay loop, and Don't Die Minerva works on that regard. So I'll be curious to see what they decide to expand on as it goes through early access. With that said, though, I think we'll wrap it up. So, when it comes to Don't Die Minerva, it definitely has a good leg up, at least at the moment. And if it can at least expand on its general gameplay, maybe make the toys and the weapons both more distinctive, as well as make the passives really pop, I think we could have an amazing game. And it is, like I said, on the lighter side of a roguelite. It's a light roguelite, if we can put it like that. And while this game is not going to be super difficult in the same way as something like Spelunky, The Binding of Isaac, Dead Cells, and etc. are, the game itself is fairly easy to learn. While there is some complexity in terms of how your stats and your attributes will affect your gear, this is still very much a game where just take the thing that gives you the highest defense or the highest DPS and call it a day. At most, the biggest decision you'll have to make are attaching the various gems to your gear, which provide you with more benefits, as well as possibly changing some of the properties of your gear. But it's all kept very streamlined, and that is definitely good to kind of make this game on the more accessible and playable side. With that said, I would like to again thank the developers for giving me a press key to check this one out. If you'd like for me to look at your game in the future, please don't hesitate to get in touch and come back for daily discussions on game design here and on Game Wisdom, where we examine the art and science of games. Once again, this has been Don't Die Minerva, and I will see you all next time. Take care. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed things, be sure to do all the liking and subscribing that the kids are doing these days. Check out our Discord channel link down below where we hang out and chat game design, and come back later tonight for our regular streamings. But that's it, and tune in for more great content here and on Game Wisdom, where we examine the art and science of games.